A quick beginner's guide to understanding the percentages on the eligibility checker. I think the first thing you need to see is why we built it. I've been angry for a long time about loan and credit card APRs. You'll note they all have the word representative rate. And the law says that if they advertise a representative rate, only 51% of accepted applicants need get that rate. So they can advertise 7%, you can be accepted but be charged 20%. And that's deeply frustrating because the only way to actually know what you will be charged is to apply. But when you apply, that puts a mark on your credit file, which means if you did get a high rate and wanted to try elsewhere, you've got a slightly worse chance of getting the next time, so it's anti-shop around. Now, I spent years giving evidence to Parliament about this, saying the system doesn't work and nothing changed. So we decided to take it on by building the eligibility checker. And what it does is it tells you your odds of getting each card, so you can hopefully minimise your applications. And it does that even though if you checked your credit file you would see that you'd use the eligibility checker. This is what's called a soft search, which means you see it, lenders don't, so it doesn't impact your ability to get credit in future. Of course, when you actually make the application, that will go on your file. So now, with that all said, when you will look at your range of cards or loans, you will see it has a percentage figure, somewhere from 0% up to 90%. 90% is the best you can get. If you get a 90%, that means you are extremely likely to be accepted for the card. We can't quite tell you at what rate, but as a general rule of thumb, the higher your percentage chance, the higher you will get the actual rate that is advertised. I would still say 80% and 70% mean you have a very good chance. Some people have got in contact with me and said, it told me I only had a 70% chance, I didn't want to risk it. Well, my response to that was, what do you mean didn't want to risk it? A 70% chance is good. That means 7 out of 10 people who are rated 70% will be accepted. And I think what you need to do here is balance your acceptance percentage against the consequences of applying. Now, the key to applications is lots in a short space of time. Damn on your credit file, make it much more difficult to get further credit. So you really have to think about, what else do I need my credit for in the short term? Because applications wipe after a year, and even after 6 months, even if you've done 3 or 4, this is anecdotal, but hopefully it'll give you the chance of understanding. Even if you've done 3 or 4 in a short space of time, after 6 months, it won't be such a big deal. So the key to ask yourself is, what am I saving my applications for? If you have a mortgage application due in 2 months, then I'd say be extremely cautious about applications. If it's this credit card or loan that you're using the eligibility checker for that's the most important thing in your finances, then don't worry too much. Go for a card at 70%, 60%, 50% even if that's your best chance. Because the worst thing that can happen is they say no and you don't get it. You might even then get another card elsewhere. So what you really have to do, the higher the percentage is good, the less important applying for other things are in future, the more applications you should consider making. But in general, where would I make an application? I think even at 30 or 40%, if you have no other need for applications in the next 6 months or so, and this is a credit card or a loan that is important to you in your life right now, I wouldn't worry too much about making the application. But if it's a trivial thing, such as for a cashback credit card or a cheap overseas credit card when you're about to apply for a mortgage, I would be very careful making more than one application, and I'd want a decent high percentage, 70% or above, before I did it. I hope that rough rule of thumb helps you understand when to apply and not.